Hi, and welcome to the Retirement Pivot. I'm Kat Kelly, here to talk about all things retirement. And today I'd like to talk about 5 hidden struggles, possible struggles with retirement that might be unexpected. They were certainly unexpected for me, and so I wanted to share those as possible ways to avoid speed bumps for other people. So I'm calling them the 5 F's, and those are friends, family, focus, finances, and feeling disconnected. And those are just in thinking about my first year of retirement, like things that I was like, I didn't really expect that. So I wanted to talk about those things. First thing is friends. And of course, friendships evolve anyway, naturally. But when you're going through a big transition like retirement, some of them evolve in surprising ways, unexpected ways, some good, some really good, and some maybe not so good. So some will of your friends will stay in your orbit, and some will not, and they just will evolve to need to do other things. Maybe you'll need to do other things. So I think in general, expect to retain some friends. You'll certainly make new friends, hopefully, and we'll talk about that. And then you'll maintain some other friends, and some will get even better. One of the things that I found as a school teacher, I'm a retired school teacher, taught for 37 years, public school, mostly in New York, and I've retired to Florida. So I've also moved away from my professional friends, so that's a big change for me. But I've kept in touch with a lot of my important friendships, which is wonderful. Um, and so, but in losing that professional space that you share with other people, it does change some of those friendships that you make at work. Now, some people are friends with workmates and some people aren't. I was. Um, so that has been a big change for me. So plan on having to do maybe a little bit of work to maintain those professional friendships, especially if they're still working and you're not. You'll have to find things to do that are different from what you've done before. It's no more meeting in the halls or eating lunch together, those kinds of things. So, you know, that's one thing. Another thing is there might be people who, I don't want to say don't fit in your retirement. That's a terrible way to put it, but even from their perspective, they may feel like they don't have things in common with you anymore. Or maybe, they say some friendships are for a reason, some are for a season, and some are for a lifetime. And so maybe your working season had certain friendships in it, and maybe they're not lifetime friends, but you can certainly wish them well and, keep in touch at holidays or whatever. So do the work to maintain those relationships maybe differently. I certainly will be sending out more probably holiday cards this year because I do want to keep in actually at least annual touch with those people. That's one thing. As far as family, the second F is family. I love my family. I actually live with family. My sister and I share a house, and we have an attached casita that we built the whole compound actually 3 years ago for retirement and to accommodate my parents who are 83 and 86. We are so blessed. Um, so what I realized is that other people's expectations about your new free time might need to be massaged in your retirement. I have not had so much of a call for that, but it is a little bit of a dance when you're the person with all the free time. You might end up doing all the errands or whatever, and so that's something to be honest about your time and be honest about your energy for, and to draw clear boundaries and say, let's see what we can do. Um, One of the things that I'm just looking at my notes. Um, Find your flow. Like I have decided that I've told my family Mondays and Fridays are clear days for me, and I'm kind of at home. So if anybody needs anything done, if those are the days that I can kind of, you can call me to go pick something up or prescriptions or what those kinds of things. I'm happy to do those things for them when they need it. If they don't need it that much, frankly. Um, of course, I'll do things other days, but those are sort of my free days. So it draws a boundary for them a little bit, which I think can be important. And defining your days. Maybe I'd like to define one day for art in my week and just say that Wednesdays I'm in my studio, or maybe more than one day. I don't know that I can do more than one day, but so define your days to give yourself a focus is a suggestion that I have. Maybe you have a different suggestion you can leave in the comments, which is wonderful. Um, and then, and that leads into the third F, which is focus, which is focusing on what you're doing. Um, Another thing about the family, though, before I leave it, is I feel a little guilty having a free time, because I live with my sister, who's also a teacher, but because she teaches in Florida, she has a different retirement options, and so she can't retire yet because they don't get health care in retirement. So she has to wait till she's Medicare eligible. I was able to retire at 59 from New York because I got health care in retirement from my school district. So I do have a little bit of guilt about that. So I have to do some work to feel okay about those things as well. So sometimes it's an inner struggle and it's an inner journey to figure something out. Sometimes it's educating other people. The focus, finding your focus, find your flow, make your week work for you, and determine what you want to get done in a week. Maybe sit down with yourself on Sunday night or Monday morning or whatever, and make a plan for the week. I have lots of lists especially the beginning of retirement, I had lots of lists. So that's important. Finance. Uh, what I have found is I am much less of a consumer in my retirement. I used to have to buy, makeup and shoes and clothing and all the things for professional outfits and, materials and hardware and software and stuff for my job, materials for my classroom, those kinds of things. So it has been refreshing to reduce the scope of my economy, my personal economy, my budget. And that is important because, being on a fixed income can be a little bit limiting, and in surprising ways. That has been one of the little surprises for me. Was I have, I thought I had this huge, uh, you know, pension from New York, and it is, and I'm very blessed, and it's quite the privilege. I worked hard for it for 30 years, so it's not something I take for granted. But let me say this: let the gig economy work in your favor. I have I I took 6 months. The first 6 months I did not work. I did not. I did all. Just did the things. I visited the manatees. I went to Buck Tower. I did all kinds of visits of local places. Got to know my town again. Saw friends. Had lunches. All those kinds of things. And then it was like, okay, doke. After 6 months, I was like, oh, I got to do something with my time. So I have put together a little puzzle of jobs that I do. One is very part time, and it's helping with a volunteer organization. I do volunteer as well, um, but I get paid to organize their volunteers, which is a nice, little monthly check. And then I also help a family in my neighborhood by driving their kids to school once, twice, maybe 3 times a week, just as they need it. Some weeks more than others, and it's a big help to them, and it's pocket change for me, which is really nice. So I'm not dipping into some of the other money for going out to dinner with friends and those kinds of things. And um, earlier in the summer I was planning a trip to Vegas, and I wasn't feeling great about gambling my pension money. So I was like, well, what can I do? How can I put a little pile of money together? So I tried Uber Eats delivery and loved it. I thoroughly enjoy doing it. I still do it. I don't do it a lot. I do a couple shifts a week. Um, Orlando's a great place to do it. It's a great market for it. I drive a hybrid, so it makes sense for me. The people are wonderful. People are so happy for you to bring them their food, and I find the restaurants are very friendly and happy for you to help out with that transaction. So look at the gig economy. It has worked for me, and it's been very helpful. So that's part of finances. And simplify spending. Spend on the things that you really value. And the last thing is I'll talk about is feeling disconnected. It's very easy to feel disconnected. There's so much research about retirees and sort of closing into your home. Do as much as you can outside of your home, particularly if you're young enough and have the stamina to be able to do it. Join clubs, go to the gym, do some silver sneakers sort of workouts with other people your age, those kinds of things. I have a friend who took up Tai Chi in her retirement, and she goes, I think, 3 or 4 times a week and does Tai Chi, and she's connected with the people there. She's doing the stick thing now and all kinds of stuff. Very good for her physically, very good for her mentally, and just psychologically, the importance of staying connected is really about mental health and physical health as well, but mental health most importantly for retirees, and it's something to keep an eye on. I have taken up golf, so I'm taking lessons. I've met wonderful people. There's a local golf course near me, and I've really, really, really enjoyed that. And it's outside, and I love to be outside. Summer was a bit hot. I didn't do a lot of golfing in the summer, but I'm getting back to it now that it's fall. Um, Also, I'm in a mahjong group, so we play mahjong probably twice a month on a Sunday afternoon, and we play at my house. So it's really easy for me. And what a game that is! Um, I thought I would be a pickleball player, but I had a tragic first experience with pickleball that included not quite stitches, but I still have a scar from it. Just first time I went to swing, I went down on my face, and it was embarrassing and not graceful. And so, pickleball, not really my thing. I might try it again someday. One surprise for me has been I have fully embraced the sourdough lifestyle. And so I took last December when I was starting to kind of come out of my 6 months of I don't want to do anything. I took a sourdough class at a lady's house on a Saturday. It was like 2.5 hours or something, and got a starter, learned how to do it. And since then I have made all kinds of things. I have um, taught all my friends how to bake with sourdough. I did a couple classes with my friends at my house. I'm starting a sourdough YouTube channel so that people can see exactly how to do it and go back to it and that kind of stuff. So if you'd asked me 2 years ago, hey, you think you'll be a sourdough maven, I would have told you were nuts. Not even like the way to cook, but I've really embraced it, and it's been a surprise for me. So I guess in closing, the 5 F's again of potential struggles in and maybe hidden struggles in retirement: friends, family, staying focused, getting your finances sort of where they make sense, and then feeling disconnected are important to keep an eye on and stay balanced with. Some questions that come from that are: what can you try that's new and different? How can you draw clear boundaries and honest boundaries with family? What are some weekly schedule anchor events that you can put in to kind of determine your focus and your time? What ways can you simplify your spending? And then what old friendships do you have, and what new friendships can you make, and how can you stay connected with people? So that's the retirement pivot. It's 5 pivots you gotta think about. But I wish you well in your preparation for retirement or your actual retirement if you're there. And I will see you next Monday.